The feeling is emotional safety, a deep, subconscious state where a woman feels seen, valued, and secure in your presence. This speech breaks down how to create this feeling through masculine strength and grounded emotional intelligence. A grounded man is a rare force. In a world where emotions run high, chaos lurks around every corner, and people are constantly reacting without thinking. A man who remains centered becomes magnetic without even trying. He's not the loudest in the room, not the one constantly trying to prove something. He's the one who radiates calm, stability, and quiet confidence, and women feel that on a deep, almost primal level. You see, being grounded isn't about being emotionless. It's not about bottling up how you feel or pretending you don't care. It's about being so secure in who you are that outside noise doesn't rattle your core. When she comes to you with her fears, her doubts, her mood swings, her vulnerability, what she's subconsciously testing is whether you can hold the container. Can you remain rooted while she pours out the things she doesn't show the rest of the world? A woman cannot feel safe in the presence of a man who mirrors her chaos. If she cries and you panic, if she's angry and you escalate, if she's uncertain and you retreat, she starts to lose trust, not just in you, but in the dynamic. Because deep down, every feminine woman is searching for a man whose energy can ground hers. She doesn't expect perfection. What she's seeking is presence, solidity, the kind of masculine stillness that doesn't waver when things get uncomfortable. When you are grounded, you don't react impulsively. You respond with intention. You listen more than you speak. You understand the power of silence, of holding space without judgment or the need to fix everything. This doesn't mean you let disrespect slide. Grounded doesn't mean passive. In fact, a grounded man has some of the strongest boundaries you'll ever come across. But he enforces them with calm, not chaos. He can say no without yelling. He can walk away from what doesn't serve him without needing to destroy it on his way out. His power lies in his emotional self-control. When things go wrong, when someone disrespects him, when life throws a curveball, he doesn't crumble. He adjusts, he adapts, he maintains his composure, and that's exactly what draws women in, not just physically, but emotionally. Because emotional safety is the doorway to real intimacy, and it starts with how safe she feels in your energy. Women are far more sensitive to a man's emotional state than most men realize. They can feel when you're anxious, when you're overcompensating, when you're unsure of yourself, even if you're saying all the right things. Words don't ground a woman. Your energy does. Your ability to remain centered in uncomfortable moments, your ability to lead with steadiness, your refusal to be shaken by emotion, that creates trust. And when a woman trusts your presence, she begins to relax. She softens. She opens up in ways most men never get to see, because they haven't created the kind of safety that allows her to fully be herself. To be grounded is to be consistent, not boring, consistent. Your mood doesn't swing based on her approval. Your self-worth isn't tied to whether she's having a good or bad day. You're not chasing her validation, nor are you threatened by her independence. You operate from a place of internal certainty, not external validation. And when you walk into a room, your calm becomes the atmosphere. That is what women crave, often without being able to name it. They just know how you make them feel safe, seen, secure. That's the superpower of a grounded man. Protecting her peace goes far beyond pulling her close in a dark alley or stepping in during a heated argument. Yes, physical protection matters. Every woman wants to know that the man beside her can shield her if danger ever presents itself. But the truth is, women encounter something far more constant than physical threats: mental exhaustion, emotional overload, and psychological noise. And that's where real protection comes in, not in your fists, but in your presence. In your ability to filter out what doesn't belong in her world and create an environment where her nervous system can finally rest. That's what makes a woman fall deeply, not the man who shows up when there's a crisis, but the man who becomes the calm that prevents the crisis in the first place. Every day, she's bombarded with expectations. Be sexy, be strong, be soft, be successful, be everything to everyone. She's navigating a world that often demands her performance, but rarely honors her soul. So when she comes home to you, she doesn't just want a lover or a partner. She wants a sanctuary, a space where she doesn't have to explain herself, where she can drop the mask, where she can breathe. But you can't create that if you're bringing your own storms into the room. If you're volatile, reactive, full of noise and unresolved baggage, you're not protecting her peace, you're disturbing it. Protecting her peace means being intentional about the energy you bring. It means not turning every disagreement into a war. It means knowing when to speak, and when silence holds more power. It means not dumping your frustration onto her just because the world upset you. It means creating a relationship where she knows she can relax into your presence without anticipating conflict or walking on eggshells. You have to be the kind of man who handles his inner world so well that she never has to carry the burden of managing yours. That's protection. That's masculine strength. And no, this doesn't mean suppressing your emotions or pretending everything is okay when it's not. It means owning your emotions like a leader, processing them in healthy ways, communicating with clarity instead of confusion, knowing how to express pain without projecting it. When a woman sees that you can handle your inner chaos without letting it spill into her world, her guard begins to drop. She sees you as safe, not because you're always happy, but because you're always composed. Sometimes protecting her peace looks like being a buffer, shielding her from unnecessary drama, refusing to entertain gossip, chaos, or toxicity, steering conversations toward growth and not destruction, choosing to build a home, emotionally and spiritually, that feels like a retreat from the world, not an extension of its madness. It's in the small things, turning off distractions when she's opening up, defending her name when she's not in the room, refusing to let outside pressure poison what you're building together. That's not just love. That's leadership. Women remember how you make them feel, especially in the quiet moments, when her soul is tired and your presence recharges her, when her mind is racing and your touch slows it down, when her world feels like it's falling apart and your eyes tell her she's safe. That's what protection really looks like, not in grand gestures, but in consistent emotional strength, not in domination, but in devotion, not in rescuing her from the world, but in building a world with her that she doesn't want to escape from. When you protect her peace, you protect the most sacred part of her, her heart, and that kind of protection makes you unforgettable. Being predictable in your character doesn't mean being robotic in your behavior. It doesn't mean doing the same thing every day, saying the same words, or living on autopilot. That kind of predictability breeds boredom. But what keeps a woman emotionally invested, what gives her the safety to open up fully and feel secure in the dynamic, is knowing that your asterisk character asterisk your values, your emotional integrity, your inner compass, doesn't shift with the wind. In a world filled with temporary men whose actions are based on mood, impulse, or external validation. A man who is steady in his identity is rare, and that steadiness is not just attractive, it's magnetic. It creates emotional security at a level that transcends words. She may be drawn to excitement and spontaneity, but when it comes to building something real, women crave consistency in your essence. Can she trust that the man she falls asleep next to will still have her back the next morning? Can she trust that the words you speak when you're happy will hold true when you're frustrated? Can she trust that when you make a decision, it's not coming from insecurity, ego, or fear, but from principles? Predictability in your character means she never has to second guess your intentions. She doesn't have to decode your moods like a puzzle. She knows what kind of man you are, because you show her not once, but repeatedly, especially in the small, unseen moments. This isn't about perfection, it's about alignment. When your actions, your tone, your choices, and your presence all flow from the same place of internal truth, you become a man who cannot be manipulated, shaken, or thrown off course. And that's deeply comforting to a woman. You're not just a man she dates. You're someone she can build with, because you've proved, and over time, that you don't disappear when things get tough. You don't morph into a stranger when your ego is bruised. You don't become someone else just to gain approval. You are who you say you are, even when it's hard, even when it's inconvenient. That consistency doesn't make you boring. It makes you trustworthy. It's the quiet kind of strength that whispers, "You can lean on me. I won't collapse." There's a reason so many women get exhausted in relationships. It's not always because the man was toxic. Sometimes it's because the man was unpredictable. One day, he's available and present, making her feel adored. The next, he's distant, withdrawn, distracted, without explanation. She never knows where she stands, and that inconsistency breeds anxiety. She starts walking on eggshells, wondering if she did something wrong, trying to adjust her behavior to get back the man she saw glimpses of at the beginning. But a man rooted in character doesn't make her feel like she's chasing a disappearing act. He brings the same emotional energy, the same strength, the same care regardless of what life throws at him. Because he isn't driven by temporary emotions. He's led by enduring principles. Even in the realm of attraction, this kind of consistency deepens desire. When she knows you're not going to flip the script randomly, when she feels emotionally safe in your presence, she can finally relax. And in that state of relaxation, her femininity flourishes, her creativity blossoms, her sensuality awakens. She's not in survival mode, she's in connection mode, because your consistency has made it safe to let her guard down. And when a woman lets her guard down, she gives you access to her most intimate self, not just her body, but her trust, her respect, her loyalty, the kind of loyalty that doesn't waver when life tests the bond. This is why being predictable in your values, in your emotional tone, in your masculine presence, isn't a weakness. It's a superpower. It allows you to be the calm in her storm, the structure in her flow, the safety in her vulnerability. She can play, explore, express, and even break down in front of you, because she knows you won't judge her, abandon her, or weaponize her emotions against her. You'll remain who you are, because you've done the work to know who that is. That level of emotional maturity doesn't just make her love you, it makes her respect you, and in that respect, real intimacy is born. Leadership in a relationship is not about barking orders or controlling every move she makes. True masculine leadership is subtle, powerful, and deeply attractive. It doesn't shout, It doesn't dominate. It leads with quiet confidence and unwavering direction. A woman doesn't want to be controlled. She wants to feel that she can trust your lead. There's a big difference between the two. Control is fear-based. It says, I don't trust you, so I need to micromanage you. Leadership, on the other hand, is strength-based. It says, I trust myself, and I invite you to follow a path that has purpose, clarity, and vision. When you lead, you're not just guiding her. You're guiding the dynamic. You're taking responsibility for where the relationship is going. You don't wait for her to define everything, initiate everything, or fix everything. You initiate meaningful conversations. You make plans. You solve problems. You set the emotional tone. You know where you're going, and that direction gives her permission to relax into her feminine energy. Because contrary to what modern confusion might suggest, most women do not want to carry both the emotional and directional load in a relationship. They don't want to be with a man who's passive, unsure, or constantly asking, "What do you want to do?" They want a man who knows how to move through life with clarity and intention, and who includes them in that journey, not by force, but by inspiration. To lead without controlling, you have to start with self-mastery. You can't lead anyone else until you know how to lead yourself. That means you have discipline, you have boundaries, you have vision, you've built habits that ground you. You're not swayed by every opinion, every shift in mood, or every external storm. You move with purpose, not pressure. And because you've mastered yourself, you don't need to dominate her. You don't need to assert your power through control or manipulation. You can invite her into your frame, because you have a frame worth stepping into. This is where so many men go wrong. They mistake leadership for dominance. They think being in control means telling her what to do, shutting her down, or invalidating her thoughts. That's not leadership. That's insecurity in disguise. A true leader listens. A true leader values input. He knows that the best leadership is collaborative. He's not intimidated by her strength or independence, because he doesn't see her as competition. He sees her as a partner, so he welcomes her insights, her intuition, her feminine perspective, and he uses that information to lead better. She feels heard, not overpowered, seen, not silenced. When you lead with strength and openness, something powerful happens. She begins to trust you deeply. She trusts that you won't steer the ship into chaos. She trusts that you won't abandon the wheel when things get tough. She trusts that your decisions are made with intention, not impulse. And in that trust, she softens. She becomes more open, more feminine, more free. Because your leadership has created the safety she needs to stop guarding herself. You didn't force her to follow. You led in such a way that she wanted too. Even in conflict, your leadership shines. A man who leads doesn't avoid difficult conversations. He faces them with calm and clarity. He doesn't escalate, belittle, or blame. He de-escalates. He seeks resolution. He keeps the emotional tone grounded, not volatile. That doesn't mean he suppresses his emotions or avoids expressing himself. It means he does it with control and intention. He's not driven by emotional outbursts. He's guided by wisdom, and because of that, she knows she's not dealing with a boy throwing a tantrum. She's with a man who can hold space for both of them, even in hard moments. Leadership also shows in your consistency. You don't say one thing and do another. You don't promise the world and deliver excuses. You follow through. You're a man of your word. She doesn't have to guess if you'll show up. You make decisions and stand by them. You provide structure, clarity, and vision. That steadiness becomes the foundation upon which intimacy, growth, and love can flourish. Without it, she'll always feel like she's floating in uncertainty, unsure of where the relationship stands or where it's going. But with your leadership, she can relax because she knows you're not just drifting. You're building. Leading without controlling is the balance of strength and humility. It's knowing your power, but never using it to suppress or dominate. It's making space for her to be fully expressed, while still standing firm in your masculine role. It's being decisive, but never dismissive. It's guiding the relationship forward, while always considering her needs, her dreams, and her emotions. And when you embody that kind of leadership, you don't just gain her admiration, you earn her devotion, because you become the rare kind of man who doesn't just walk ahead. You walk with purpose and invite her to walk beside you. Presence is not about being in the same room, it's about being in the same moment. And in today's world, presence is rare. Men are often physically there but mentally scattered, thinking about work, checking their phones, distracted by everything except what's right in front of them. But women can feel that. They know when you're only half with them. They sense when your body is present, but your mind is elsewhere. And nothing creates emotional distance faster than a man who shows up but doesn't really show up. When you give a woman your full, undivided attention, when you lock into her world with your eyes, your body language, your energy, you give her something she craves on a soul level. You make her feel important, valuable, chosen, seen. A woman will never fully open to a man who is constantly elsewhere. Whether you're on a date, sitting at home, or lying in bed, if you're checking your phone more than you're checking in with her, she feels it. And no matter how much money you spend or how many sweet words you say, nothing replaces the impact of full presence. Presence tells her, right now, nothing matters more than you. It's not about grand gestures. It's about the moment energy you bring into the interaction. When you're present, you listen not just with your ears, but with your entire being. You catch the things she doesn't say. You notice her tone shift. You sense her pulling away before it becomes an argument. You feel her energy drop, even if her smile stays. And that kind of awareness is powerful. Because presence is not passive, it's deeply active. It requires strength to quiet your own mental chatter and fully attune to another human being. It takes discipline to put aside your own agenda and step fully into her emotional world. And yet, when you do that, the reward is immense. She begins to trust you on a level that most men never reach. She shares more. She opens more. She invites you deeper not because you pushed, but because you were there when she needed to be felt, not just heard. Presence creates the emotional intimacy that no amount of physical attraction can replicate. And presence isn't only about the calm moments. It's just as vital in the moments of tension, in the middle of a conflict, or during an emotional breakdown. Can you stay with her when she's crying without trying to fix it right away? Can you remain steady when she's venting without shutting down or becoming defensive? Can you hold the space for her pain, her confusion, her vulnerability without making it about you? Because if you can, she will begin to see you as rare, as a man who can handle the full range of who she is, not just the joyful parts, but the complex, chaotic, messy parts too. When you are present, she doesn't feel like she's performing. She doesn't feel like she has to filter herself or edit her emotions. She knows she can just be because you are with her, not just beside her. And in that state of deep presence, the bond between you strengthens. It becomes rooted not in fantasy or expectation, but in reality, in the rich, raw, unfiltered reality of two people fully engaging with one another. That's when love becomes more than a feeling. It becomes a lived experience. It becomes something tangible, something sacred. Most men don't realize how simple, but powerful, this is. They're busy chasing validation, trying to impress, trying to prove. But the truth is, nothing impresses a woman more than a man who can sit across from her, look her in the eyes, and actually be asterisk with asterisk her. Not trying to fix her, not trying to seduce her, not trying to escape, but just present. That level of attentiveness is rare, and rare is unforgettable. She will remember how your eyes didn't dart around the room when she spoke, how your body turned toward her, not away, how your phone stayed face down because your priority was clear. That's what makes her feel special. That's what makes her feel chosen, because presence is more than attention. It's devotion. It says you matter, this moment matters, I am not running from it. And when you bring that energy consistently, she will not only feel emotionally safe, she will feel cherished, admired, understood. And in a world where most people are craving to be truly seen, to be fully met, to be deeply felt, your presence becomes the one thing she didn't even know she needed until she felt it. So understand this. It's not the gifts, the words, or even the passion that leave the deepest mark on a woman's heart. It's how you asterisk make her feel asterisk. When you give her emotional safety, deep admiration, consistent character, grounded leadership, and your full presence, you're not just loving her in the moment. You're anchoring her in something she can trust. And when a woman feels safe, seen, and led with strength, she doesn't just stay, she blossoms, because in your presence she no longer has to guard her heart. She knows it's held by a man who truly understands the kind of love that isn't loud, but unforgettable.